Okay, well that's a good sign. That looks pretty good. Okay, 2014 Nissan Rogue, 79k miles. So for those of you who know, a couple videos ago, we have the same car, same color, same year, same model. It is front wheel drive.
Yeah, it's only for
What? What is? No, you were right, but I thought Nissan Rogue was always front all-wheel drive. Okay, 2 new front tires, but front-wheel drive, that makes my life so much easier. Yeah, front-wheel drive cars, you don't have to disconnect anything. So, sorry. So once again, Copart got me. They are tricky, always seems like it. So the airbag light is flashing on and off, which means there's a problem. Copart took the picture right when the airbag light was not flashing on. So I thought there was no airbag light. So we'll have to figure out how to clear that airbag light. Flashing airbag light, Copart, you got me. I mean, I can still sell it, but I gotta figure out how to get that code off. So it is what it is. Hopefully the airbag light could be because the sensor's not plugged in, or it needs to be I don't know. I'm not sure why it would be flashing. Okay, once we get it home, we'll talk more. Keep watching. Oh, look at this. We got 2 2014 Nissan Rogues. Clearly this is the nicer looking one. They got flip-flop damage, right? This one got hit on the driver's side. This one got hit on the passenger side. So no matter what, if I wanted to, tomorrow, I could get one of them fixed, right? Take the parts off this one, slap them on here, or vice versa. We're not gonna do that because we already got parts for that car and we already bought them, so no point in doing that. Okay, front tires are horrible. Okay, needs an alignment and it needs brand new tires in the front. Water tank looks okay, bumper looks okay, the hood looks okay. Fender needs to be replaced. Headlight needs to be replaced. I think, literally, both have very minor damage. Fender liner is okay. Tire needs to be replaced on this side. And I'll have to check the brakes and everything. Overall, so far so good. Let's check the oil. Now, I thought this was an all-wheel drive car, but this is actually a front-wheel drive. And I was like thinking, oh my gosh, like I hope they have the bolts for the drivetrain so I don't have to go to the dealership, yada yada. We ended up okay. It's a front-wheel drive car. It looks really dusty. We got coolant, which is great. Clearly, no one has ever touched this car in forever. Because look how much dust is on here. Serpentine belt, could get a new one. That'd be a good start. Can't open the coolant. Oil, not going to give us an accurate reading, but that looks really dark, and please do not be low. Oh my gosh, it's going to be low because there's a valve cover leak. And no one checks it, so engine sounds really good though. It's gonna be low. It's gonna be really freaking low. It's gonna be so low. Boom, baby! That is lower than low. I am screwed. There's no oil in the engine. That's crazy. Okay, no more driving until we fill it up with oil, because that is ridiculous. Battery, could get a new one or clean up the cable. The engine sounds okay. So probably we're okay, right? 80k miles. I'll be honest with you, I had a Kia Spectra. I know I'm talking a lot. We're gonna close this out, so keep watching. But little story, had a Kia Spectra 2004 or something like that. And I was driving it, and right before I drove from Oregon to Canada, I just happened to check the oil. I'm like, okay, just before I go, I should check the oil because maybe many of you maybe not know this, but when I was in college, my first car I ever bought for $500 from my brother Mitchell, I was driving to college and I ran out of oil. So from there, I've always been like, let me just check the oil. I checked the oil and it didn't even have oil in it. It was completely dry, but it sounded okay. I freaked out. I was like, oh my gosh, I was about to drive to, a 6-hour drive from Oregon to Canada on I-5. And I put oil in there, I filled it up, and thank goodness I did, because I probably would have burnt that engine out. That would have been a horrible mess. So I think we're okay with the oil being that low. I know you guys are watching on YouTube. I know you guys are letting your oil run low too. I know it. Some of you are. This is a reminder. Check your oil, right? Keep watching. Okay, we're looking for a 2008 to 2014 and 15 Nissan Rogue Select. We're at the Locos Gringos Pick and Pull here in Tyler, Texas, and they've got some good stuff. I do like this Pick and Pull. They have, the roads are pretty clean, although it does get muddy when it rains. But everything's in pretty good shape. They got engine haulers right there. Alright, 212 is right there, you can see. And I see the red car, and let's just hope they have the part I need. If not, no big deal, we'll just buy it off eBay or something. I live so close by here, so it's super easy for me to come here and check if they have a part or not. I didn't even bring my tools. Oh, they definitely have the, oh, maybe they don't have the part. Because I need the air. Is that it right there? That's it right there. Right here. That little box, I need it. They do have it, I just need some tools. I should have brought my tools. Bummer. I do have the little thing here as well, which I need. Boys, we did it. I got the part with me. I didn't bring my tools. I don't know why. I just was so excited to get here, I guess. It is a beautiful thing to look at a junkyard, isn't it? I really like being here. If I could have my own junkyard, that'd be so fun. Then I'd never have to buy parts on eBay again. I just take parts from my own cars. But we got the little air intake right here, probably for 20 bucks. A couple headlights and we're good to go. Let's pay for the parts and get the heck out of here. They're pretty clean though. Look at this pick and pull. They're not the pick and pull from all over. They're just one shop here. Locos Gringos Pick and Pull. They got everything clean, tidy, motors, transmissions. Pretty cool. They do a good job here. So, see you at the house. All right, you guys. 2014 Nissan Rogue Select with 79k miles. Just put a whole tank of washer fluid in. We got the motor from the junkyard. And man, we have a lot to talk about. So let's get into it. We got the car from the auction. We showed you the damage. And now let me show you what we've got. It's been a month of waiting. We've had the parts for a long time, but we've got the brand new bumper cover, upper grille, fog light covers. That's a complete bumper. We have 2 fenders, and I have paint for everything. Black is a very easy color to match. I had to run to the junkyard. If you just saw me in the video without the mic, I'm sorry, but it was just last minute video. This is what we got. It's an air intake resonator. It helps muffle the sound when the engine is sucking up air. That will help muffle the sounds and that whooshing noise that you'll hear, which you don't hear in your car because of that. Then you've got the front brackets here. I've got 4 brand new hubcaps for the Nissan that we're gonna make the tires look good. We are putting 2 brand new tires in the front because these are awful. Come check this out. Yabai. In Japanese, we would say yabai. Kore dame. Dame desu. So let's get to work, guys. And thank you for supporting the channel and watching these videos. And make sure to say thank you to my wife. She's the incredible woman behind the scenes and behind the camera giving all this to you. So yeah, make sure to give her a thumbs up and a like maybe. Yeah? All right, let's get to work. Got it. Okay. Really broken headlight. There is no salvaging this bad boy. Even Nikita Wall won't do that. Now you know my name. Now they can track me. Now they can get all my data.
Stop that.
You may not know this, but this piece right here is pretty important for the stability of the headlight. So I'm gonna have to just unbend it, which I had to do with the other Nissan Rogue if you watched that video. Let's see here, you've got the fog light connector, which doesn't have fog lights with this trim. So the connector is there, but actually not going to be used. You got the horn. Then you've got the air intake resonator, which will go here. Might as well put that in. Here. Yes, the bushings are already in there. So we're just going to plop it in. This will connect right here. Same. So it looks like there's a connector there. I hope I'm not missing anything. I might be. Okay, it looks like it just sits on top like that. Perfect. Clicked in. I'm going to leave it on in here. Yep, and bolt. did not enjoy that. I want to enjoy repairing cars. I'm not enjoying myself. I think the main reason why is because this little side mirror cover right here, they always break. And I have 3 of them. This is the one that broke. There's no reusing it, you know, it's completely broke. These, I have 2 of these. This one, it looks brand new. I didn't use it. It was for the other car. This one is the same one that broke. See? They always break. So we've got this one. It's brand new. We'll pop it in. And then I have to buy another one. $30 was the cheapest one on eBay. Aftermarket. It's just, the good thing, I don't need it to finish the car, right? So unless I get done painting these parts and I can fix this car by Friday, then the part will come on Monday and I'll be good to go anyways. I'm just not having fun. Now an alcohol wipe. Okay, how does it line up with the hood? Yeah? Don't want it to hit the hood. Okay, lines up good. So we can adjust this easily just by bringing in the bolts, tightening it up. That needs to be moved out a bit. The line here is good, although it does look like either the door or the fender is just slightly, might be the fender's just a little too tight there. Line looks good here, and we'll bolt it up. Just here looks like it's in more, and that's what you get with aftermarket, guys. There's always something wrong with an aftermarket fender, even though they say it's made exactly like it. It's just slightly, the metal just bends during shipping. Something happens, it never works out 100% perfectly. But if you're a gifted body mechanic like me, just kidding, obviously, I suck, but at least I get the job done, then you work around it, right? You run into a problem and you figure it out. Maybe you massage the metal and pop it out a little bit. Maybe you push in like that and then tighten the bolt where it kind of lines up, and you just make it look like it should be. And that's not shady. There's nothing shady about that, because that's how you're supposed to do it. You're supposed to adjust it to make it work with all the other panels of the car if it's just cosmetic. Now, we can argue you don't want to be playing little games adjusting when you're talking with major components that can affect the drivability or performance of a car. That's a different topic. But a fender, adjusting it, making the lines perfect, and kind of just doing things to make it good, that's okay to me. Keep watching. Okay, so you don't get the glare from the door. We're going to be talking here. Today I'm going to be Boston, and we are painting the 2014 Nissan Rogue Select bumper cover, and then we got 2 fenders right here. It is 85 degrees, 10 a.m. this morning. I got to paint before 12. We're gonna go quick. I'm gonna do the 2 fenders, move them out of the way, then I'm gonna paint the black bumper, then I'll do the clear coat one by one, and we should be able to get done in 2 hours. Let's get to work. I don't like painting as much, but if I can get a good result, I'm a happy guy. See you then. This especially is really weird right here. Look. Look at the 2 lines right there. That's weird. It's like grease or something. Guys, we finished the base coat. We did 2 coats on the fender. We did 3 coats on the bumper because there was some weird stuff going on. We are going to be applying clear coat now, and I'm just letting it cook in the sun because I just don't know how to paint in Texas, you guys. The heat, like you've got to, the distance from the gun to the paint, I mean the distance from the gun to the actual part, and then the airflow, the fluid, the temperature, all of these things I got to get used to. In Oregon, it worked every time, you know, 70-degree weather, medium reducer, medium activator for the clear coat, and I would spray 5 inches across, and it never had problems, hardly ever. But in Texas, I feel like I was doing so good, you know, 3 cars in a row, everything turned out great. But then this one, the base coat, this fender did okay. This fender, like, I waxed and greased it, but there's a little spot here that, like, you can see oil or grease, like it just didn't let the paint cover. There, yeah, right there. See, like, what the heck is that? You know, I put 3 coats on that spot. Everything else went perfect, but I dealt with that. And then come look at this stupid bumper. And I don't mind because it's on the bottom right here, but look at that. Look at all that. The airflow just was, for some reason I didn't check it, but on the paint gun, my airflow was really low. So it came out in globs, the paint. I didn't realize. Thank goodness I started on the bottom. I am going to let those babies cook. Let that base coat really dry. And then we're gonna bring them in here, clear coat. And with the clear coat, I think I'm gonna go quick and paint and shoot low, close, and just get that wet look. And if I have a run, I've got to run, because I'd rather have a run than just an ugly, dry, clear coat orange peel. Like, I can't have that. I'd rather have a nice wet look with runs than orange peel for days. So see you when the parts are finished. Pray for me. Pray for me that it goes well, because this is the last paint job for a while until our next car comes from IAAI. So I can't wait to show you that car. It is the most expensive car we purchased, and it is probably going to be by far the most expensive car we sell, I think. We're going to find out. So keep watching.